Lindsey, you have proven again how amazing you are, your ability to look at yourself without reservation. You allowed yourself throughout the entire process to see it, hate it, love it, get mad at Evelyn for exposing it. I think that this whole process was evidence of that you were willing to deep dive, and whatever those things are, that dross that came to the surface, you allowed it to come up and then you scraped it off. I appreciate that you had that openness and you allowed yourself to remain open even whenever you wanted to fucking close. You didn't.
Say,
And
watching you do work that someone else assigns you to do and like seeing you grow through that process was like sexy as fuck. I saw like a strength in you that I've never seen before.
We've tried this on our own over and over again, and we never really get anywhere with this. Let's submit to this process. I was personally facing things like resistance, and that was something that I've been working on for a while already on my own. But through the process, you also really pushed me to deal with some of those things that I was being resistant towards, but also learning how to move in conversation with Lindsey and also not to become defensive. You helped me learn how to become the container for that.
Lindsey, what's been your biggest aha or insight throughout this process?
I mean, personally, like realizing that I had a very intellectual understanding of the feminine, but not so much an embodied understanding of the feminine. That was a big, like, oh, kind of, so that was a personal revelation, I think, that surprised me. And then I just noticed the more David was able to like not feel defensive and reactive to my expression, but was able to just hold it and be with it and let it be, helped me to be more open. I feel like we've just like cleared out so much clutter that there's a lot of openness and freedom now to just keep creating the life that we want, which we're already doing. Like we're already making intentional choices for the life that we want. But with like all of this relationship clutter cleared out of the way, that feels more possible now because it feels like the clutter has been dealt with. I see our relationship as being like an example in our community for what is possible in a relationship.
I'm looking forward to us having fun and not living in a state of fear or what ifs, and truly living in the present moment and allowing that the space and freedom for the fun and excitement, and knowing that we're also both healers, having that sort of cleaned out and giving us the space to heal ourselves, then I think also opens the door for us to be available elsewhere and with others for their own healing. I think that the process has allowed us to, as I was saying about the feminine and my understanding of it and how I've learned to open to it and to be a container for it rather than closing off or sheltering myself from it. I think that the process has allowed us to do that, even with more things outside of these few issues that we've had to deal with. And I think that that's going to be beneficial to us in the long run too, in the future, moving forward, as we face other challenges and other things. It's going to allow us to move through those things elegantly rather than clumsily.
I think both of us, as much progress as we have made on our own spiritual and personal journeys, there were just still these knots that needed to be teased apart, and we hadn't been successful at teasing them apart on our own. And so we weren't in a bad place if you define bad as like fighting all the time or like not being nice to each other or whatever. Like we weren't in that place, but stuck in the sense that like I remember thinking a lot like, is this all there is? Like, is this all there is? I mean, my relationship is good. Like we're not fighting all the time. We're stable. Like we make good decisions together. We're good parents together. Like we get stuff done together. Like it's good, but like there was a depth missing, I think that.
Yeah, I think too, we were also kind of holding on to different aspects of codependency and not able to really fully go inward and look at ourselves, look at myself, and Lindsey look at herself objectively.
I needed this process to help me let go of some unforgiveness and resentment and stuff that I had for David, that even though those things weren't happening in the present, like they were in the past, but my nervous system kept bringing them up over and over, like, and my ego kept bringing them up over and over. And like, I wasn't able to let them go. And I didn't know how to let them go. Going through this process doesn't erase the pain of that, but it brings a peace that I didn't have before.
Yeah. And Evelyn, you also were key in leading Lindsey into the grief process for that letting go of 2018. And that was a big turning point, I think, for Lindsey, especially because she had not fully and truly grieved like that for 2018 ever. And when she finally was able to let it go, she cried 3 years worth of tears for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, and just
I don't even know how long.
let it go. And that was a really instrumental piece, I think, in this whole thing.
That's probably like one of the top 3 highlights for me of like what this process did. I thought I had done so much work with like control and stuff before. And I know that I had done work with control. Like I had gotten to a place that my own self-awareness let me get to, but then I needed somebody else from an outside perspective to sort of come in with a flashlight and like shine the light on the cobwebs that were still there that I had not seen. It's like helped me get to even deeper layers of control. And I hope to eventually get to the point where I let go completely.
I think you did your job really well. I had the thought at one point, like, she incarnated to do this. This is why you are here. And it was absolutely evident throughout the entire process. Like, you handled it all seemingly with ease, and were completely professional. And even in the toughest moments when Lindsey was losing her shit and going full Barbara ego,
Barbara.
and you were mindful of that and thoughtful of that, and just stayed another 10-20 minutes, however long it took, to make sure that you weren't leaving us in a complete shit show. And so I appreciate that. But I think you did it also because you genuinely care, and that also came through.
I don't know what the word is, but I just appreciate that, like, you didn't take my side, or you didn't like take David's side. Like, you didn't ever take anybody's side. And it felt like,
you were like, those are things we can work on.
Yeah.
And you took those opportunities instead of, choosing a side. It was like, let's go deeper.
Yeah.
And you pointed out how we can self-correct and navigate through those things ourselves. And It was a really incredible thing to observe and watch how you were able to do that. Like I said, with ease.
Yeah. And I learned by watching too. So like, I just want to tell you that you've made me a better coach just from being coached by you. So
Would you recommend this to others, and who? What type of couple
we
would
already
you
have.
recommend?
We already have. I've already recommended it to my best friend. I've had people on Instagram, like whenever I've tagged you, like people have messaged me and said like, oh, I already follow her. Like, what's it like working with her? Yeah, I would 100% recommend this. This has been so much better than like any couples therapy ever. Like now that I've had a taste of what it's like to work in a container like this versus like a therapist's couch, I would choose this every single time.
I think also, I mean, just from my perspective and my experience with you, I would say that anyone who finds themselves sort of stuck or at a crossroads in their relationship, um, just not really sure how to get through that process on their own, or maybe they've tried over and over again and it's not working. You are the perfect resource for that.
Totally.
Thank you. I just feel all nourished. Okay, last question. What would you say is the monetary value of this program after going through it?
More than we paid.
Definitely more than we paid. I don't know that
we got a good deal.
I think that what the question really could be, what's your relationship worth? If you don't want to lose your relationship, or even if you feel like there is no turning back, but you want to end it right, and you want to walk away with a conscious uncoupling, no matter which side of that coin it is, do you put a monetary value on that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think that it's worth whatever you feel it's worth.
Thank you for being a part of this process. I have loved every minute of it. Even if you felt like you were too much or you were burdened, you never were. It was always a joy for me to support you. So thank you.